Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sale, and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchors, and it feels great to be back after the 1 week break. I hope you guys enjoyed our teenagers. They were amazing. But if you did not call, I'm still beefing all of you watching. Right? You should have called and encouraged them. But they did an amazing job. How many of you followed the Teens Takeover?
I
It was
did.
such an amazing time.
It was
It was
great.
so refreshing to watch
was.
young
Yes.
people.
It also just, gives you a window into the minds of these young people, and you have a sneak peek into the future and how smart these kids are and how attentive they are about
And
what's
how
happening around.
bold.
Yes,
That's what I like, the courage to say this is what I think about this and say it out loud. I'm really impressed.
And I think for me, what I was trying to do was trying to identify each and every one of us from there. So
Oh yeah,
Right.
I wanted to
What
see
is
the
this like?
Uwa, I wanted to see the
Uti?
Marian, the Uti, and all of
They
that.
didn't get that memo.
No, but somehow you could actually tell who was who.
But they're
Not
so
exactly.
chill,
Yeah, that's it.
Young
And
people,
that's the
they
thing.
don't get
Comfortable
worried.
in their skin.
Very
I love
comfortable.
it.
And to think that, when we were younger, we never had those opportunities. And that's
Yeah.
one thing I'm really grateful to God about,
Yeah.
doing that Teens Takeover. Most of us never had those opportunities,
You
so
didn't have the
it's-
guts to
at
voice
all,
out things like that.
you were told not to say exactly what's
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
your mind,
I don't even think that,
Seen or heard.
first of all, you had the liberty for television
No,
Yeah.
to
they
actually
didn't.
bring
No,
kids
those
or
didn't.
young
No,
persons
you
who are not
Only
legally
upgrade-
trained.
afar.
You understand? Professionals.
Upgrade TV can do it. Even till today, go and check it globally. Nobody is doing it. So we are happy and we're proud to say that we're a very youth and teenage friendly channel.
Yes, we are.
Big
Give us
purr.
our flowers.
Take it.
Yes. So tonight, in partnership with first of all, if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, set up official Upgrade TV, right? Go now and subscribe. Now, tonight, in partnership with Enough is Enough, we will have a quick chat with Funke Adeoye. She's the founder of Hope Behind Bars to discuss the hashtag one person behind bars to beyond bars. And she's joined us live via Zoom. Hi, Funke. Hello, are you there?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you for joining us this evening. All right, just quickly, for those that do not know what Behind Bars, Hope Behind Bars is about, can you just quickly, tell us what the vision
Thank
is
you. Thank you
behind
so
that?
much for having me.
Go ahead, please.
All right, thank you so much for having me. So Hope Behind Bars Africa is a non-governmental, non-profit organization that is working to close the justice and reoffending gap in Nigeria. So basically, we work with incarcerated individuals across different correctional facilities. First of all, to provide legal support to awaiting trial inmates, and also because we know that one of the reasons why people find themselves committing crime, or one of the reasons why people find themselves in prison is because of socioeconomic reasons. So we also try to bridge that by providing a platform for them to learn skills behind bars and generate income behind bars, so that when they come out into the society, they wouldn't have to go back into crime. Just
All right, so I was just going to ask you, Funke, because I've listened to a few lawyers that do some social work around the prisons, right? They always come out to say that you see people that are innocent, that have spent years, in prison with no hope of even leaving the cells. Also, what's it called? We've had recent cases of protests that has happened over the years, where people have been arrested until date. They're still in custody, right? So what is an organization like yours doing, to help? So outside of the skill that you're helping them, to gain some skills, what are you doing to help those people that are innocent? Because I hear that a lot. Most times when I speak to lawyers, they say there are so many innocent people in prison, and it breaks my heart. What are you doing to help those people?
all right, thank you. So first of all, I should mention that I started Hope Behind Bars Africa majorly because of what you just mentioned. My father found himself in the criminal justice system and in detention for a crime he did not commit several years ago. And it was an incident that changed the course of my family forever. So when I went to study law, it was because I knew that there were lots of people in prison who had no one to represent them who had been in prison for years. And so when we started 6 years ago in 2018, we primarily started by providing pro bono free legal services to awaiting trial inmates and people that are innocent of the crimes that they've committed. And we've had a lot. I mean, so far we've been able to support over 8,500 incarcerated individuals.
Wow.
But some of the stories that really stand out, or some of the cases that we've really, that have really stood out for us has been cases of people like Christian, for instance, who was coming back from school in Kaduna about, 7 years ago, and he was picked up by SARS. He was picked up alongside other people, and then he found himself in Kuje prison, Kuje Correctional Facility for 5 years without trial. Recently, we also got out somebody, Michael, who same as well. I think he bought a stolen phone or thereabouts and knew nothing about the phone, and he also spent 5 years in prison. So we have similar, lots of those kind of cases. With respect to the protests, I mean, we have actually been at the forefront of providing legal support to people that protested at the last protest and even at the NSAS protest. And I can tell you for free that the way our criminal justice system works is such that if you do not have a name, if you do not have a family that has your back, or if you do not have wealth or status, you can find yourself behind bars, or you can find yourself in prison for years on ending, and nobody would even care to see if you ever had a day in court or if you've ever been represented by anyone. So with respect to what we do, I mean, that is the major thing that Hope Behind Bars Africa does. And it was in the course of doing that we realized that many of these people spend so many years, 5, 6, 7 years behind bars. Like Christian that I mentioned, he was a student when he went into prison. By the time he came out, of course, he lost his studentship and, he had to start from the scratch. So it was in the course of providing legal services for free to these kind of individuals that we realized that in addition to providing the legal services, it's also good to find a way to also support them, because either we like it or not, many of them will still find their way back to the society. And if they come back to the society and they don't have something to fall back to, it's very easy for them to go back to crime, or for those who have not actually even been into crime, those who are innocent, find themselves considering such ways. So yes, providing legal support to innocent people behind bars is one of the major things that we do.
All right, so quickly, first off, I must commend what your organization is doing, you and your organization, and then straight to the question is, how are you managing and dealing with, long days in terms of court proceedings and all of the biases, that happens with the judicial system? So how are you managing all of that?
All right, thank you very much for that very insightful question. So it's really it's a major one for us, because I mean, you already have an idea of how our criminal justice system works. First of all, we have to deal with the police, which is the starting point, or which is the entry point is the criminal justice system. It's often said that when the police comes in contact with lawyers, they always get angry, or they always just feel like we are there to take their jobs from them or something. So we have to battle with the challenge of dealing with the police, trying to hasten our matters, from the IPO, that's the investigating police officer, to ensuring that the matters are charged to court. And then when the matter gets to court, it's also another Herculean task, trying to ensure that trial is done as swiftly as possible. I mean, in the past couple of years, we've grown. We've grown in such a way that not only are we seeing the prison or the correctional service as our stakeholder, we see the police and the judicial officers as our stakeholders. And because they sort of like have come to understand the work that we do at Hope Behind Bars Africa, and we also have like a relationship with both the police and the judiciary, we've been able to bridge some of the challenges in some way for our clients. Also to say that we handle different kinds of cases. So we handle both simple offenses, felony, and even capital offenses. Many people would always wonder, why do you handle capital offenses? The case of Christian that I mentioned earlier, he did not commit any crime, but he was actually charged for a capital offense. So I say that to say that for the simple offenses, the matters always move on as quickly as possible. So when somebody is charged for loitering or for vandalism or for things like vagabond. Yeah, there's a crime called vagabond, So those simple offenses, usually within 5, 6 months, it's usually handled as swiftly as possible. But where it's a capital case or where it's a felony, it takes
It
more
takes a
time.
little time.
So as much as possible, yes, yes, it takes more time, yes, because of the penal of the sanction or the sentences involved. So I think it just varies on the type of offenses, and also our relationship with the judicial system has also helped over time.
All right, thank you so much, Funke. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I would have really loved to hear more on the conversation, because especially Nigeria, that they do not respect rule of law. I want to know how much faith we have in our justice system. But hey, we'll probably bring you up again another time, so for us to continue, because justice is conversation that would always be evergreen in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time this evening. All right, so tonight our topic will focus on our ex-presido. It says Nigerian leaders are self-centered and lack knowledge. And here's what we found as today's quote. It says, leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. And this was from Simon Sinek. When we open our phone lines, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic for the day. But first, let's run off on a break. We're just going to breeze through what we found in today's news. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, International World Humanitarian Day is observed annually on the 19th of August. Now, this day is dedicated to honoring humanitarian workers who risk their lives to help others in crisis situation, and to acknowledge the importance of humanitarian work globally. In Nigeria, World Humanitarian Day is marked with various activity and events, and highlights the country's humanitarian efforts and challenges. The day often features awareness campaign, tributes to humanitarian workers, public events and discussions, community engagements, and government and NGO collaborations. Now, World Humanitarian Day in Nigeria serves to draw attention to the significant humanitarian needs within the country, celebrate those who contribute to relief efforts, and encourage greater support for humanitarian initiatives. So yes, this is our love going to everyone that is touching human lives in one way or the other. Thank you for all you do. All right, who are we starting with? Breeze, quickly.
Okay, so very quickly. What's in the news? The headline says MT and others get permits to generate electricity. So I'll just read a tiny bit. It says the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has issued permits to Golden Penny Power Limited, MTN Communications Nigeria Limited, Avon LC Nigeria, and others for mini-grid electricity. Not to read it, but I mean, they've gotten licenses so they can build like tiny renewable energy, not for consumption, not for consumption, rather, not for sale to third party. So that's something that the government is trying to, work in.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Maybe
Let's
I can create our own energy.
My sister, may they give us license. As I did like this, I've created my own energy grid here. I'm a mini grid here now. What will remain when I get my everything?
Hey, I'm a mini grid.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's
that's a good thing.
It's lovely.
And I think beyond that, the government should also kind of like license business owners to be able to.
So there's a bunch of businesses listed below that they give
Awesome,
license to.
awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, that's a good thing. Something good from the news today.
Yeah.
Well, Premium Times newspaper here says cancelled contract. I'm also replies who told me, for those of us who've been following the story about the presidential aircraft.
My darling.
The big embarrassment, national, international embarrassment. Well, Patotomi was quoted saying that he has also been a victim of this. But unfortunately, Nigerian businesses, when they suffer these damages, they only lick their wounds. But then, of course, when the international businesses get into this quagmire, they at least they have the opportunity to go to the international court to get some sort of. But then while he was saying this, of course, the governor at the time when he lost money comes out to say, "Oh no, it's about showing." Anyway, long story short, our politicians need to learn how to respond, proper PR. We're dealing with a national problem, a mess that you made when you were governor. All you could have said is, "Oh well, we're fixing it," instead of coming out to wash this in or beating the drums and dancing in public. It's such a mess. For Benga Daniels, I'm so embarrassed. And for Patotomi, that is not a career politician who knows. He's a professor of economics. For those who do not know, he knows what he's talking about. Doing business in Nigeria is very tough we keep shouting about ease of doing business, but really, is there really an ease of doing business in Nigeria? I see your face because you know, as a CEO that you is, you are suffering it. So
Suffering and smiling.
We really need to wake up. It's embarrassing. Every day, one embarrassment or the other comes our way. It's so sad.
You know, today, a quick one, before I just get into this, I literally asked, you know, everyone around of how you were faring. I did that a couple of times. I kept on asking, how's she doing? Is she all right? How's she coping? Is she fine? And
it's
all
tough.
And they say she can literally change you to money if she can't.
You need that joke that you can
That's what he said. Maria was like,
How much can your head go?
no money, zero. You know, but you know, I would always doff my hat for Nigerians and everyone that's in business in this country. And I think that you're patriotic because you have a choice not to be in business, but you still choose to be in business.
Absolutely.
And for some of you, it's not because you want to feed, but it's because of what you do for the people. Right.
It is well.
You know, let me not be a preacher this evening.
Straight up
to my own, you know, what's in the news. So yes, I found this, that in 2027, APC will produce the next governor in Abia State, says the House of Reps Deputy Speaker. That's his, I wouldn't call him a right honorable. His name is Benjamin Kalu. I think that's too much credit, you know, to give him all of that title. So according to him, if you haven't seen that video, just go on the internet, you know, just go on Twitter, search everywhere. I'm sure you see that, where, you know, the number 6 citizen said that this is the last time that the Labour Party will govern Abia State, and he cannot be the number 6 citizen of Nigeria and have another party, you know, govern. Long and short of it, for me, this is actually a threat to our democracy. And these are the things that we should be concerned about. When we talk about those who are, you know, enemy of the state, this is actually, because if you're, you know, making statements that threaten our democracy and you're threatening our democracy as a country, then you should be declared as an enemy of the state. And that's tantamount to terrorism. And that's what it is.
Is it the only one? You are plenty.
Now, you know, because at the end of the day, all I have known and all that it is, and I'm sure that even the oldest democracy should come, you know, in my defense and say I'm saying a lie, is that in any democracy, that it is within the power of the people to elect their government, and it's not with, you know, so it has nothing to do with power actually rests, you know, to elect leaders with the people. Free and fair elections. So I'll leave it at that, really. But I think that, you know, this is not fair, this is not obtainable, and that's not a statement that should be made in a democratic dispensation.
Speaking to statements, Nigeria has a bright future, says Dr. Olusegun. And he said this, in celebration of his 35th anniversary. He emphasized the fact that the way Africa is positioned, the way Nigeria is positioned on the African map, it resembles a gun. And Nigeria is at the trigger point. And that it is no coincidence that God has a plan for Nigeria. He's a steadfast believer in Nigeria. And he said that Nigerians should continue to pray for divine intervention.
Oh gosh. It's so sad how the thing that resembles stupidity most times is Christianity, not capitalism.
And you know, I think that God is literally tired
of Nigerians,
of we praying and asking him, disturbing him for the things that he is.
That we can
have you noticed?
He's given us everything. Do you know how much we have underneath us in this country? We have no business being poor, no business being
going to churches and saying amen when we could be thinking.
No. We've given our brains. We've given our brains to the opium that is called Christianity or religion. We've given our brains to it instead of using. I'm not saying, please, I'm a Christian. Okay, my father is a preacher. But the important thing is that we're not using our brains. We're not creative anymore. We just go and do...
We excuse things and then go to
Jesus'
God
name,
and pray
amen.
about them.
I'm so irritated.
It resembles a gun.
We should pray.
Anyway, it was in love at the moment he said
so,
it.
So me, I'm thinking, so this is what I have to say. So this is what I have to say now.
Let's stop with the ridiculousness.
Enough of the prayers. It's time for us to make Nigeria work. And we all have a responsibility, including the preacher, including whoever is making all of these statements. Because, you know, there's always time for everything. Ecclesiastes says that. There's time to pray, there's time to act, there's time. Yes. And then you can't constantly say that, you know, even the Bible says that faith without work is dead.
Yes,
we need to do the working.
Enough
of it. And you know why? You know, because recently it just dawned on me that...
Positioning on the map.
It just dawned on me that God is not the problem.
We are.
Never is.
We are the
actually.
problem.
Yeah.
And that's why God is as if, sometimes you wonder, why is God not doing anything? He's not going to do anything.
God is busy. He's trying to help the children in Palestine.
Yeah.
Netanyahu is trying to
You
kill
know
all
what?
of them. So
I thought I was going to say something about the voting. They've helped me to save. It's all right. We'll take a break. When we come back from that break, we have our conversation about our leaders and what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said. Stay with us. I think we should have just allowed the teenagers to continue for another week, because it be like say this 1 week break. Una came back with fire. People should be coming down. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, former President Olusegun Obasanjo made headlines with a candid critic of Nigeria's current leadership, accusing them of self-centeredness and a lack of essential knowledge needed to govern effectively. Obasanjo's comments have reignited conversations about the state of our nation, particularly as we grapple with pressing issues like the soaring inflation and widespread hunger, not to forget the petrol scarcity that is currently slapping all of us in the faces, right? Yeah. So today we're going to explore this conversation and Obasanjo's insight, right? We're asking what exactly is the problem with leadership in Nigeria? And do you agree with President Obasanjo that says that our leaders are self-centered and, of course, that they lack knowledge? It's two things. So. There is the self-centeredness and there's the
lack of knowledge.
So who is going to go
I want to start. I want to start.
Go ahead.
With due respect, I love the beautiful government that former President Obasanjo put together with the help of his vice president, who brought a lot of technocrats. Nigeria's trajectory would have been better if we didn't have some clowns become president right after that.
Yeah.
But I also want to put it to former President Obasanjo that he's also one of those in the self-centeredness that he pointedly made. He wanted, does he forget quickly, that he wanted a third term. He allegedly brought bags with dollars, millions, to try to bribe members of the National Assembly. And here he is today, trying to tell us about that same, maybe he's repentant now. Yeah. All things have passed away. All things have become new. I'm saying maybe. Operating word being maybe. But I do understand that with absolute power corrupts. The moment you have a little bit of power, because people wax very lyrical. I've interviewed so many politicians over my 21 years as a journalist, and one of the operating word there is, I will. We must. It's very easy to criticize when you're on the outside. I remember how, what's his name, Buhari sounded like he had the magic wand to change the situation of things. He sounded like he was going to, in fact, literally Nigeria was going to turn to Dubai when he came after Jonathan. Meanwhile, the moment Jonathan left, things went downhill, and it has continued because his friend is now our president, and things are continuously going downhill. Yes, I agree with the self-centeredness, because I think every politician, when they go in there, all they think about is themselves, their family members, their girlfriends, and their friends. And then one wonders, where is, because democracy is about people, people, people. It is supposed to be service to the people. It is supposed to be, how can I better the loss of these people? Because if Nigeria is good, it's good for you, it's good for me. But no, the average Nigerian politician doesn't care about that. He begins to think about how this office will benefit his friends. And that's why in this present government, it's the friends of the president that occupy the juiciest offices. Yes, again, self-centeredness. But then, of course, the fact that also some of the people who lead us, the worst of us, are leading the best of us. And half the time when I listen, we just finished talking about politicians speaking in the news like Benjamin Kalu, like the one you call your Senate president. The things that they say on camera is despicable. You wonder if these people have PR teams, if they have people who write their speeches, or they just wake up when they roll over from one side of the bed, they say whatever comes to their mind. So I totally agree with the former president, but he should put himself in the number.
Thank you. Let me just say one thing after that. When I watched the tape, and I saw him saying that, I quoted what he said, I put it on my phone, and I was just thinking, I didn't know that I would be alive long enough to see Obasanjo attain saint status. I'm so happy that I can sit.
That's why I said he's
that he can sit down, and say, the problem is that you're self-centered and you lack knowledge. He's self-centered too. He committed some atrocities that we don't talk about today. We've made him an elder statesman, so now we put him on a pedestal.
It's because
it's
because the governments are not getting better; they're getting worse.
Yeah, they're getting worse.
So when one man
and he must have done something,
you know. Been there.
Because if you build the foundation right, I'm hoping that everything wouldn't just get destroyed once you leave. If you are the best thing that happened to Nigeria, and the moment you left office, everything went down, something is wrong with what you built.
Yes.
God will bless you.
Good. Then it's wrong.
God will bless you.
Yeah.
You know I say God will bless you. Continue. So, and I want us to take this very seriously.
Yeah.
Leadership for me is not about somebody coming into power and doing everything right and everything working. Leadership for me is when you have left that office. What happens after you leave?
What posterity says.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
What happens after you leave? Does that organization, that business, that country, whatever it is, does it crumble? Or it builds and grows? That's when you as a leader
You've
can
successfully
beat
done
your
something,
chest to say, I have successfully built something. But let me leave my thoughts.
Meaning that his foundation was shaky.
Because
shaky.
Yes.
Really shaky.
There is God. She wants to say something. Okay.
So first of all, I'd like to say...
I want to be chill today. I'm not going to shout.
so first
Yeah,
off...
you people are just... It's like you people... You saw me in the dream. You say, no. You are shouting
Don't
too much.
bring my dream here.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to say, leave the dream. So, but, to be very honest, first off, so I think I would like to approach it from the angle where don't pay attention to the vessel.
Yeah.
Right? Pay attention to the message.
Not the messenger, but the message.
So that's where I come from, because you two have been about, the vessel.
messenger.
And I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Paraventure, he's forgotten. So that's a reminder. But, let's get back to, the context of it. But prior to this time, we also need to know that I think that I have always known, as at the time I read the book wrote by Chinua Achebe, The Trouble with Nigeria, and he said very clearly, and I hope that everybody gets to read that book, and I hope that we introduce that in our curriculum to our kids, so they read it, and so we understand, because I don't know where we're going from here, that the trouble with Nigeria has not always been, with her climate or her location or whatever it is. That has always been with her leadership. And I'll cite an example with a recent report that has been put out, by, the business and reportage that we have going on, that the cost of converting, first off, that, the gas that we have fled, that we have refused to convert to energy for the past 6 months in 2024 could have powered 3 million houses in Nigeria. And that's a typical example of failed leadership that has no direction, no focus, no knowledge, no understanding. It just sits well with what the former president has said. Because to be very honest, I spoke with some experts when I saw this report, and they said that the cost of, converting this energy is actually not cheap. But however, is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. And so what exactly is the problem? That's because we have greedy people who we call leaders. Our politicians are very greedy. And we also have a political structure that doesn't have any focus. Because one would think that at this point in time, you and I have no business, and Nigerians have no business to be in darkness. If we literally want to solve the problem of energy and, the fact that we can supply our own energy, at this point in time, one will be saying that states at this point would literally have their own gas turbine. They would also have their pipelines, where you have oil companies where they can actually convert. Nothing is easy, but if we commit ourselves to it, we can get it. So, yes, 100%. And if there's 200 and 1,000%, I agree with the former president. That this lack of leadership direction, it feels like we have people who are clueless.
They are clueless.
Who are self-centered, who don't care about anything but how to embezzle money for their 100 and bond generation. And that's a lot of greed.
So let me say something, right? I remember that when we set up this office, when we're going to build, to start to produce from here, somebody came into the office and said, now wow, even if I had this money, I never spend my money like this. That is the typical mindset of every Nigerian. Because building something is never easy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of grit, it takes a lot of tenacity, it takes a lot sleepless night, tears, blood and sweat for you to build anything good.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, right? So when you have a crop of leaders that do not have any vision,
what do you expect? What they will do is collect the money, convert it to dollar, and go and store it in one account. Because for you to build anything, even if it is toothpick you want to start to manufacture, for you to wake up every morning and go and fetch the wood, chop the wood, do everything to make sure that that toothpick comes out, it takes a lot of work. Yeah. But let's take a break, right? When we come back from that break, I would love to open our phone lines to hear your thoughts on this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having a conversation around Nigerian leaders and their self-centeredness and their lack of knowledge. This was a statement that was attributed to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. Our phone lines are now open. 07025007749 and 07014242420. So do you agree with Messi that says we should discard the messenger because it's flawed and focus on the message? Or are you with Team Bufa and Marianne that says, Oga, remove the log from your eye so you can see road?
But the deed has already been done.
My sister.
Do you know, I wanted to
go ahead.
Just say something. When you said that someone came and they saw you building something and they said, oh, I could never do this even if I had the money. It reminds me of how Nigerians take care of things that don't belong to them. Have you seen how Nigerians live in people's houses? They're like, oh, you're renovating this place. I could never. It's not even my house. Aren't you going to move?
Oh, it's the same attitude. It's the same attitude to the civil service. They ask you, is this your father's home?
Is it your father's? So it's your home. This is your home. This is where you come back to at the end of the day. What is wrong with making it exactly what you want until you move to your own house?
Protect it like it was yours.
And then you build it. It's such a low thing.
I mean, this is a great point you just brought. Did you watch the video of, I don't know who follows these cooking people on Instagram? Who Diary of a Kitchen Lover.
Yeah, I did.
She recently just moved out of her old kitchen and she moved into, in fact, when I saw that video, I sent it to my sisters and I said, this will be us very soon, right? Because it's every place I have lived. You don't come there and meet it the way I met it.
Exactly.
You meet it better than I met it. So it is a mindset thing. It's a Nigerian problem. I hear we have a caller. Our first caller for the evening. You people did not call when my teenagers were here. It's all right.
Hello,
you are live.
Okay.
You are live. I will still take your call. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Benin, Edo State.
From Benin. Oh, thank you for calling.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the program.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, actually, I think I support what the former president said. Yes, that our present leadership, they are self-centered and they lack knowledge. I agree with that statement 100%, because the truth of the matter is our present day president and leaders, they don't really have manifesto. They don't have focus for the country. And that is why things are going the way it's going. Let's take for example, during the days of Obasanjo, people protest like Oshomole that is in APC now. Yeah, it do protest as Labour chairman when they are trying to increase fuel, maybe with just 20 naira. It will protest and they will reduce it. But today, the president and the APC people are trying to subject the citizen to abject poverty.
And suppress their voices.
Yes, and at the same time, they don't want the citizen to talk. So we should look like slaves while they keep borrowing money in our name and embezzling the money. So they lack knowledge.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, Marianne, let me come to you, then I'll come back to you, Messi.
So because I know that we started by, talking about the person who you know, was
Yeah.
the carrier of the message.
Statements, yeah.
So, but I also remember that I put in that caveat that yes, he's saying the truth.
Right,
The
yeah.
worst of us are leading the best of us, and I also applauded his government for what they did. But let's also lay a foundation as to what is leadership, the kind of leadership that we have in Nigeria. I remember when Doyin Okupe was a spokesperson for the Jonathan administration. He was asked a question about the Nigerian way of doing things because he kept saying, Nigeria has its own way of doing things because, of course, at every point in time, people from outside the country, you know, criticized the government and said, oh, this is not how to do it. And he said, hey, this is our Nigerian way of doing things. But what is the Nigerian leadership? Because I don't think that we have leadership, or we've had leadership in a long time. What we've had is rulership. And it's more of our leaders dishing out what they want, what they think we want. They hardly call us to the table to say, what do you want? How do you want us to serve you? Is this what you want? Do you want water? Do you want food? Do you want... They don't ask us. For example, the National Assembly is having a constitutional amendment. I don't remember them calling us or going to the different constituencies to have town hall meetings to say, what would you like for us to adjust?
Would you
and
like
how
for
would
us
it
to
help
amend?
you? Because you see, as we speak, the Niger Delta has an agitation that has been going on. Even before Jonathan became president, you cannot take the oil from under us and use it to serve the whole nation. But the gold in Zamfara belongs to Zamfara people. The coal in Enugu belongs to Enugu people. Do you understand me? They're not asking the right questions. So we do not necessarily have a leadership. Yeah. We have something that seemingly looks like leadership, but we have rulers. And that's why when people say, oh, the president is the father of the nation, whose father is he?
Yeah. You know, we don't only have rulers, we also have people that
semi-dictators.
Yes, exploitators.
Do you know what I was going to say?
Go ahead.
If Tinubu approached me to date me, I wouldn't date him. He's not the kind of man that I would let lead me, one woman. But this man is dating an entire country. Do you know what it takes?
He's courting us.
It's bizarre. Like, I wouldn't let him date one person that I know, my bestie. I wouldn't let him do that. But the man is ruling an entire,
I can't even believe that angle came.
Oh, well, really? Because she said that, I think that's
because let me tell you, in that dating relationship, before you subject yourself to a man's
these are you people that are talking.
No, to go into a relationship with someone, man, that man should have the capacity to take you to where you're going. In terms of your vision.
Can submit to his vision.
Do you get what I'm saying? His leadership should take you to where your vision is going. So I understand her submission, but let me come to you, Mercy.
But before I venture into what I want to say, that actually comes from a level of self-awareness. You have to, if you don't know yourself,
who you are,
if you as a woman don't understand, you can just follow anything, and that's why anybody can follow anything. So it's a different dimension if we want to relate it to Nigerians. I'm not sure we know who we are, and we understand the
problem, right?
Right. But, you know, so that it doesn't look like we're just, you know, saying a lot of things, let's, you know, cite some example and remind ourselves of some of the cases of corruption and self-centeredness that reflects corruption. Now, if you remember pretty very well, in 2012, the petroleum scandal, Nigerian government had discovered nearly 6.8 billion that was fraudulently claimed by various companies under, you know, the failed subsidy regime. And then, you know, this scandal highlighted several leaders that were indicted. They were involved. That's one. So what is the former president saying that is not true? I understand that he literally might not be a saint, but like I said again, I understand. So, but I'm just saying that the example. And then you want to talk about is it the pension scam of 2013? Do you want to talk about that, where the former director of the Nigerian Commission, John Yakubu Yusuf, was convicted of embezzling 32? It just shows that we have people who don't care. When they go in there, they embezzle. That's what it is.
I want to even say something about this thing you just said, because you see, before, now we are saying corruption, good old days corruption.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Good old days corruption. When you hear say there's still money, now million. Yeah. Now, what we hear,
crazy things are happening.
You know, like it is. It's in trillions.
Matawale is hundreds of billions for Zamfara. Hadi Sirika, who pranked us, literally pranked us, brought an airline. They painted it Nigeria Air. After they did the air show, they took it back.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's been given bail of 1 billion. He paid it. He's somewhere sipping his champagne, and they're telling us that the matter is in court. Yahya Bello, who we have proof, the school refunded the monies back. Somebody that has paid his students' school fees with taxpayers' monies. We're talking about recent. Better I do's matter. I asked the EFCC spokesperson, he said the matter is in court. They really are taking us for granted.
So
again, do we really have leadership
when
in
we
this
now
country?
say that, because you see, it's a bad combination.
Yeah.
You see, it's a different thing if I'm self-centered and I am knowledgeable.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are like we are in a double whammy situation here. Because if you are self-centered, no problem. You go to a job, but you go still they do some work.
Yeah.
But now you are kind of like clueless. What you talked about gas. So I studied physics in the university.
Right.
And when I was going to do my a final year, there's something we do before the final project. When I did that, it was conversions of waste to gas. It was biogas conversion. The formulation, the small plants that was the demo plants that we saw, it was not a difficult thing to do. And the beautiful thing about these things is that if you go to countries like India, like China, because of their mass population, they have been forced, right, to find alternate solutions to innovate.
Yes.
The other day, I saw a video where they were putting solar panels on the sea. You understand? They put it on floaters and they put it on the sea because they don't even have spaces to put the panels anymore. They are floating it on the sea. So these are countries that have done well. Now, do Nigerians have access to the funds to be able to create these things?
No.
They do. They do. So that is where the self-centeredness comes in. First of all, they do not know what to do. And secondly, they are so greedy and they are blinded by their greed to even do something.
I agree. It's a deadly combination.
It is too deadly.
Like you can be self-centered. You know why Obasanjo said it? Because in his time, he knows that he ate, but he did some stuff.
Yes.
He did.
He did
paid
a lot.
off that.
Wow.
Yes, he
We
did
have a
lot
lot of
stuff.
callers
He
from
established a
Edo
lot of
today.
things.
What's happening?
Okay.
Hi, you're live. Go ahead, please. Hello? Okay. When you call, turn off the volume of your device so you're not listening to that. Listen to us. Go ahead.
So what I was even saying is so like you have said, we don't even need to get to a point where we need to burden the people to begin to get the turbine, the gas turbine, and then, connect to states that are, transmitting, like states where you have the oil
Abia
companies,
State
right?
has done it, so it's
Exactly.
that it's not
Give
rocket
me a minute.
science.
So,
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, Mercy. So if you're trying to call, I hear we're having troubles with both phone lines. If you're trying to call, it's not going through, you can try the WhatsApp line. You can call the WhatsApp line as well. That's 0818-308-663.
So like I was saying, you've cited now, it's no longer history. And that's why I'm pained that, you can have Honorable Kalu, number 6 person, who doesn't care about his loyalties to the party, and he doesn't care about the development of the people and the voices of the people. And to him, it's a thing of ego that I can't be the number 6 person in the country. And then another person, because for instance, if you have, that's what we're saying, that we have the capacity.
A campaign was built, sorry, my darling, Mercy, you say self-centered. A campaign was built on the premise of Emi Lokon. It is my turn.
My turn. Nothing else.
So
no manifesto.
How else can you? How else can you quantify the height of selflessness?
Yeah, but that's for the presidency.
That's the highest office we have.
I know, but again, he's talking about a state that has been governed by several people and different political parties at different points and has not seen
let me
any
explain
form
something.
of development.
Let me
And for one,
explain
the
something.
only party that has sat there is
And
trying
done
to do something
something
small.
small.
If it has done things to show that these things are not rocket science.
So let me
they want to
explain
take them
something
out.
to you, Messi.
Yeah.
If you have a leadership, right, that this is the body language, how do you think it will trickle down? A lot of people are having the boldness to make statements like this because why? Somebody has set
And
a
the top is
precedent.
doing it, yes.
Do you understand what I'm
Doing
saying?
it.
So as a leader, there are some things you do not have luxury to do.
To say.
I can do anything that I want to do.
A private citizen.
Right? Because what? I am my leader. But guess what? Anything I do today affects the health of my company. Affects everything we do here.
But do our leaders
so
think
do
about
I
this?
so for the sake of the company, for the sake of the growth of the company, there are some things I must not be caught dead doing or
But
saying.
do our leaders think in that direction?
Do you know what?
Sorry.
I was
So
going
like
to
I
say-
go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry.
Just go ahead.
I was going to say the thing about leadership is it's supposed to create possibilities. And I heard that first from Apostle Femi Lazarus. He says that when someone's leading a thing and he does something, then the other people realize that, oh, this can be done. So the possibility of it being done, it no longer feels like we have to
It's
go
no
to the
longer
moon,
because-
yes, to do
yes.
it. But when someone like Tinubu can come out to say Emi Lokon, and he still gets into office, the next guy come in knows that he could say something worse, and he will
Yes.
still get into office.
So you just-
that's
you know,
why
it
the Senate,
graces-
that's why the
replicates
Senate president
itself.
of a country in 2024 can tell protesters who are
while you are
protesting,
protesting, we're
and
eating.
are talking about hunger, he opens
next
his
person will
mouth
do
and says,
worse.
you can do what you're doing, we'll be
We'll stay
eating.
here.
What does that mean?
And so
it's the audacity for me.
Go ahead.
So let's speak to the fact that leadership, and this is not rocket science. We don't even need to go to Harvard. It is lack of leadership that still makes us think that we have to chase the West for knowledge. We still get to consult these people when the West still comes to, the North. I would call us the North or whatever it is. Third world countries to get the best knowledge. They pick our minds here. They pick the best brains and go off. And then we're chasing them, for solutions to our own economy. Now, if we literally had leadership, because I'm not going to even exempt any government from this. I think that the past and present government, if not, Chinua Achebe will not be saying that, the problem with Nigeria. Imagine when Chinua Achebe wrote that book. And imagine when we're talking about leadership problem. So it has always been a problem. The leadership of this country is a major problem, because if we have a government across all levels, including state and local government, that has some sort of focus and direction, they would be saying, what problems are we dealing with? There will be conversations as to how to address insecurity that would allow farmers to go to their farms, whether or not to allow governors to be real, controllers of their security architecture in their country, not just figureheads. And also, they'll also not be in the guise of taking monies and not accounting for it. So everyone would find the way to say, we need to make security work. For us, for instance, if we have farmers in our states that can't go to their farm, how do we address the problem? That should be the conversation. Not conversation as to why the next, in the next election, it has to be my party. It's not a braggadocio issue. It has to also be... It has to also be, you would look for, states. I'm saying that leadership across all countries. I'm not talking about leadership now just at the federal level. I'm saying that leadership,
at every level,
and this leadership thing is not a noun thing. It's not a 2024 thing because President Muhammad Buhari is here. I beg your pardon, Tinubu is here. I'm saying that, I understand your point, but I'm trying to also say that the leadership problem that we have has always been a leadership problem.
Let me explain the point I'm trying to make. Sorry, darling. The point is, when you start something, have you tested, and this is because I love children a lot and I study them. This is the thing you see with children, right? And that is why when you see something that might eventually lead to maybe a character flaw,
yes,
you nip it in the bud. Because what they do is that they test. A child will test you and they look at your face.
They want to see,
they do it. Yes.
They do something, they try it and they look at your eyes. They want to see your reaction. They want to see what you would do. If you tolerate it, if you accommodate it, right? Then what? So what has happened, Messi, over the years? It's not a today thing. But I am sure when Chinua Achebe wrote it, even Chinua Achebe himself,
it wasn't this.
He no say the thing can ever be this bad.
He saw a problem.
And you don't understand.
Worse.
You understand what I'm saying? And
it can get worse.
That is why it is very important for us to kind of like expand the minds of people.
Yes.
There was something very profound you said at that point where I was talking about something and you said, no be person where you get self-awareness, then go understand, say it enter bad relationship. That is the thing. Ignorance has been weaponized in this country.
Poverty.
You are intentional about poverty and ignorance. Do you understand?
And they build on that ignorance.
Yes,
That's why somebody would be suffering. There's no light in your local government. There are no roads. There's nothing. Somebody will give you 1,000, or somebody comes to tell you that I will do A, B, C, D, and E, and you don't ask them how. You just say, wait, what do you have for us?
500 naira.
That's self-centeredness. And that's how, if I am hungry and you're hungry, everybody in this room is hungry, somebody comes and gives Buffer money. Buffer that talk that we were saying we're going to go and protest, Buffer has gone home. Because she thinks about herself and her family.
Absolutely.
That is why we're not moving forward as a country.
I should tell Nigerians that the entire conversation comes down to elect better leaders.
No, so at this point,
I'm serious.
No. They have wisdom has taught us. That is not about
it.
No, yes, wisdom has taught us that it is not about elections. It is about being involved in the process of selections.
That leads you into
the process of selections.
Yes.
So it is not about at the end, right? We see if you select the right candidate.
What's your lager?
Anybody
I want to buy you drink. What's your lager? Because no, because this is a fight that I fight every other day, whether it's on TV or on radio. People are most interested in elections. We're waiting for elections. No, ma. Become part of the process. That's how everything happens. Before the selection process even happens, be part of the process. before they pick the first 6 guys, and then it's down to 3 people. Be part of it. In any political party, don't wait to be in the big parties. Be everywhere.
I mean, so let's take some comments, right? Good evening, ladies. Oh. Someone will reduce the noise so that we can understand your talk. We are sorry. We are so sorry
for the noise.
So sorry.
Oh.
You know when they do us like that? Messi, take the other comment. They say we should reduce it. It's me. I'm guilty.
All right, this one says, good evening, our beloved and smart sisters. On the topic, Nigerian leaders are self-centered and lack knowledge, former president. I agree with all of you. Then former president too is very right. Read between the lines very well. Nigerian leaders are self-centered and lack knowledge. He was indirectly telling you, including him, he has no moral right to say otherwise. We were told that he was even the cause of the jumbo pay of the Nigerian senators. Actually, but I think that recently he has been, saying that it's not right that they have to set their salaries by themselves. I'm sorry, because he started it so they can support their third-term agenda. Then look at Songo Road that even led to his Ota farm. He cannot tithe throughout his 2 term as president. That's me adding that. We can't really say anything that Nigeria was better for under his watch, except for the Pari Club, beg your pardon, that was actually reform the Nigerian debt pardon. Maybe I have not read to that level. Please send the site to me if you have or know of it. They are all the same with little or no difference in ambition or to govern Nigeria. To me, most of them are there to update and upgrade their CVs, except Governor Zulum of Borno State helped tell them to go and learn under him despite the insurgency bedeviling his state.
I totally agree with you. I've been to Borno. Zulum is doing a great job, I must tell you. This one says, what might solve Nigeria's wrong results in elections is when we abolish the state result coalition centers. Results are altered. Some party agents get bullied. Lives get threatened to succumb to the results and get announced publicly. That's where livelihoods, sometimes destinies and systems get skewed. And we might have to wait probably another XX years again. Charles from Kaduna.
All right, so let me take Kelvin, then I'll come back to you before I take the last message. Okay. Kelvin,
very
live.
wrong.
Good evening.
Imagine we protest. At the end, when we protest, now things they go up, things they cost more than the way it did before. It's very wrong. Why are they taking us for granted?
Thank you so much, Kelvin.
We all are citizens. It's very wrong.
Thank you. Thank you. I can feel your pain. Before I take the last message.
Okay, it says Nigerian leaders aren't clueless. Rather, they're insensitive. They embezzle so brilliantly. These politicians don't want the country to work.
Simply put.
It's true. Because when they're stealing, they're still so intelligent. Well, not so intelligently. I mean, they say snakes, But
yeah. No, so their smartness comes in when it's time to steal and loot our money.
That's true.
I mean, because tell me why a governor of a state would come up with budgets with ridiculous names, and then the paper that's presented to the House of Assembly. I don't have a governor. My governor is Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Imagine, tell me how a governor of a state will present budgets with ridiculous names of all kinds of nonsense, and then the paper that he presents to the House of Assembly are empty.
I think that's a lack of knowledge.
That's a crime. It's a crime. What's criminal to me? It's criminal. And then
the session was not make them sit down quiet. Go ahead.
It's criminal. And so you, at the end of the day, you literally impoverish the state. You keep coming up with white elephant projects. You take the monies. Nothing is done. Businesses want to come into the state. You frustrate those businesses because you want them to give you billions of naira or dollars. Kickbacks. A governor of a state. You campaign. You wanted to be governor of that state. You cried, safe. But you're stealing from the
Let me take a comment on YouTube. It says, greetings, ways ladies. The teens did a phenomenal job for all of you guys. Happy you are back. Those leaders are just evil, because even if someone lacks leadership but has empathy, compassion, etc., their common sense will lead them to seek people to help them solve the problems.
And that's where leadership lies. So however you want to look
we have run out of time.
Oh no!
We might continue tomorrow.
Wait!
We might. Guys, Emma Binu for all the noise that we made.